When we started learning functions, we understood that there are multiple formats to or multiple syntax to define functions in JavaScript. Just to do a quick recap on different functions, yeah, we have learned syntax like function declaration syntax, yeah, and then we have learned another syntax called function expression syntax, yeah, and the last one and the latest one is actually called arrow function syntax. So likewise, we have got three different syntax in order to create functions in JavaScript. So arrow functions actually, yeah, so they are actually a slim functions, right? So very slim. You don't even write a function keyword also. Yeah, all you have to do is you have to write a simple arrow and then you can have a curly bracket or we need not have curly bracket. And within this parenthesis, you will have the parameters. And these functions are very popular, yeah, very popular in especially in callback functions. So array methods, object related methods, anywhere if at all we have to use callback function. So there is a heavy usage that we going to use arrow functions. Now we know already about the syntax. I think we'll have to understand a bit more about, okay, how they're actually different and how they have some different behaviors compared to a regular function syntax. Okay, uh, now in terms of the syntax, I think we are clear. But then, so we have got you know a function. Let's say if at all I'm writing like this, so without arrow, I mean sorry, without the curly bracket, yeah, without curly bracket, if I'm returning something from an I mean if I'm writing an arrow function, so what exactly it means? It means this is it is this particular syntax. Yeah, you just observe this syntax is almost same as, let me write the same to sum 2 is the, yeah, a comma b arrow, and then I write a curly bracket, and then I write return a plus b. Yeah, so in arrow functions, yeah, this is called implicit return. If you don't write curly bracket and you just directly write the value, what it means, it is going to implicitly return this value. You don't have to explicitly write a return keyword, because in function we always write a return keyword if at all that to the callee function if this particular thing has to return something. Okay, so yeah, this you have to understand, this is called implicit return, and that is there if you don't write curly bracket. Let us say you write curly bracket, then you will have to explicitly add this return statement, and you should not forget, yeah, if at all you're returning something from this arrow function, you should be writing this arrow function. Now the usage of arrow function is they are slim, yeah, they're also called as fat arrow function, but they are simple, right? So you see, I just have to write a plus b, I don't have to write even the function keyword. So such a syntax is very popular, yeah, people like this kind of simple lines like than rather than writing a lengthy logic. For this, now curly brackets are avoided, yeah, keyword is also avoided. So likewise, it becomes a lot simple to write this arrow functions. Now this is in terms of the syntax, yeah, and like about the return specifically, whether we have implicit or explicit return. Yeah, in terms of usage, yes, I told you they are mainly used as a callback functions. Yeah, we can pass them as a simple callback function. We can write them as an inline callback function. But here is another example. Yeah, so where age is less than 18, then yeah, within that ternary operator itself, within ternary operator itself, I can write in arrow function. And now this function, yeah, whatever you are going to return will be stored in, I mean, this particular function reference is stored in this variable, and you can call that because that's a function. So all I'm saying is, so let's see this example. Okay, you see, welcome. Yeah, say age, let's say 20, and then I'm going to execute that function statement. You see, I'm able to write, I'm able to write these functions also in part of an expression. See, generally function we define in multi-line if it is other function, but here it is possible to use them directly in an expression. That simple they are. That's what is this example actually talking about. Yes, we can also have a multi-line arrow functions. How? Let's say I want to perform something, yeah, and that case we will use this curly brackets. What do we use? We use this curly bracket, and if you use curly bracket, you can perform whatever operation you want, and at the end, you should make sure you return something, and if you're expecting something to be returned from this function, yeah. Uh, I mean, arrow functions have this is oh, okay. I think that this is the basics of it. Did I cover the basics, or I wanted to intended to cover revisited? Just a second. Uh, 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 yeah, I mean, I wanted to cover arrow functions revisited, not exactly that arrow functions. Okay, fine. I think this is a topic I wanted to talk. By mistake, I think I went into that other job. Fine, that's okay. So I think we got a revision of what exactly arrow functions and what we have. But then again, we are revisiting these arrow functions, yeah, because there are something interesting. Yes, first of all, they are shorthand syntax, and you are able to write a very small. And usage wise, I was telling, yes, we can write in array methods, array map method, array for each method, array. So wherever functions accept, yeah, our functions are accepted as a callback functions. Yeah, example best example is set timeout. I think which we will discuss soon. So this function also you can pass this function. Yeah, but there is something interesting. So okay, I didn't talk about this uh, this parameter yet actually. I think THIS. So do you guys know what is THIS? This? How exactly it is different? Did I discuss anytime?
This your window object. This will refer to the
This will refer to the window object. Are you sure?
yes sir.
No. In certain cases, it refers to window object. Rajesh, you are right, but not always. In certain cases, the value of this, yeah, this is a special variable you can think, and this variable holds values. Yes. So if at all I'm just accessing this directly, yeah, as you said, it is having window, and it comes window because I'm again running in browser. But in general, we say it prints some global object. What is it? It prints a global object. But then the same this value, okay, is different. Let's say I'm calling a function. Okay, I'm going to call this function called test, and I do console.log of this. Okay, so now if I call this function, what is the value of this?
Undefined.
Undefined?
Yes sir.
Uh, it depends actually. It is not undefined. If at all you execute this block in a strict mode, we know there is something called use strict. Yeah, there is a directive called use strict. If I use use strict and then I'm going to call this function, then okay, uh, interesting. Uh, what exactly happened? Okay, some console error blocked by frame with
And
origin.
use strict we need to use so top only on top of
True, use strict we have to use at the top of the program only. Yeah, for this, let me take JavaScript one compiler. Yeah, I'll show you what exactly it works, or how exactly it works. It's called, yeah, as you said, we have to use this directive in the top, and now this whole program will be executed in the strict mode. So let's say I'm having a function called test, yeah, and inside this, I'll try to display this special value called this. So let's see what is the output. This is what we are looking for, right? Let's run now. What you got? You got undefined, correct? As Rajesh, you said undefined. But if I don't execute in strict mode, now you see the output. You got a global object. This is same as window. Yeah, if I run the same code in browser, it will give me a window. So in general, yeah, it has printed a global object. You can also think a global this. All right. Now, what exactly this is? What is actually this special variable called this? Yeah. So, so this particular variable actually points to an object. Yeah. This will hold the reference of the object using which I've invoked this particular method. Yeah. The special variable holds reference to an object which I have used to invoke this particular function. Okay. So now where is the object here? Which object are we talking about? I did not use object only. This is a normal method, isn't it? So in a browser context, okay, so the calling test is simply calling test is same as I'm calling like window.test, right? Invoking this function just like this is almost same as you invoking window.test. Now, since you have invoked this method test using with this window object, yeah, and it will be part of window object. So you will see that, okay, yeah, something. Okay, so this is part of, I was saying, yeah, this will be like, you should treat like it is part of the window object. Let me show you how it is part of window object also. So I created an object called test, sorry, a function called test. Yeah, already it is there. See, we have a global object called window, and now check if window.test exists. See, so whatever you create specifically in global scope, yeah, specifically in a file, in a global scope, if you create, okay, in a normal JS file, apart from modules, okay, so not inside a module, inside normal JavaScript, yeah, normal.js file. So there, even if you create one variable outside, for example, you create one variable called let, uh, you know, uh, uh, like is JavaScript, so variable, okay, this things gets these things gets associated to window. They all will become part of the global object, especially if you're running this JavaScript in browser, then they will be associated with this global object by name window. And now, so if for all you're printing this special value inside this, then okay, that value will be, yeah, the reference of this object itself. We have one dedicated chapter to understand object methods and this. Okay, I think I've covered already what is object method. This value, I think I did not explain. I think this is the time I'm explaining now. But for now, you understand this much. Yes. So this is a special value which is there. So now let's see the output. I'll try to execute again. You see, you're going to get a test. Now I'll change the scenario now. So I don't want to execute a normal test like this. I would like to create an object called let user is equals to, yeah, I'll add the same test method here. Okay, I'll add the same test method. I'll write a normal expression syntax. Okay, normal expression syntax. And here I'm trying to print the value of this. Yeah, I'm just doing is I'm trying to print the value of this inside the test. For this, I'll also keep, okay, so a name for this user as JS. Now, how do we execute this function test? I will call user.test. Now tell me what is the value I'm going to get when I run this? What is the output I'm going to get?
Undefined.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, there's a syntax error. Yeah, I should have put comma missing. See what is the output you got? You got this object user. Yeah, how did you invoke this function test? Using this object. Now inside the function, if at all you want to access the value of this, this will point to the object which you have used for invoking that method. It is not undefined. That is what this special value this points to always. In any of the normal function, okay, I told you previously, which was part of window. I told you calling test directly is same as window.test. That is why inside the test method, you will see, a window, a reference of window object in a browser context. Now I'm trying to just extend the same thing. So now this method is part of the user object. That is why inside, if you try to print the value of this, then the value will be, this object itself. Few seconds ago, I also said, what if I print a value of console.log outside outside a function? In the global context, if I try to print, what will be the value? What will be the value? This is this is again you say window or global this, because this particular value I'm printing outside. This is not inside any function. Let's run. Okay. Okay. It's saying capital window. Okay, so this since it is not running, okay, this program is not running in a like a browser context, yeah. So it is showing this as an error. Okay, you cannot execute in one compiler this window and all. Fine. Is it clear till now? And test is also not exists. So are you clear with these two output? Inside the function, it points to the object. Okay, and if you're trying to access the same this value, outside, see it actually kind of now printed an empty object. Fine. An empty object. This is in fact it will be window or a global this. Yeah. Now I think it is executing in strict mode. That's where you are actually seeing this empty object. Okay. Let me just show you. Yeah. Just to confirm, yes, it is coming from this. Okay. So printing value of this. Now the discussion is not about THIS, what exactly it is. Since I've not covered, I told you what exactly it is. But now we are trying to understand what happens inside normal function and what happens inside arrow function. That's a discussion. We have to understand what is the value of this inside an arrow function. Yeah, there are a lot of useful reasons why we access this and all. Maybe I'll keep it for another day to explain you when I'm talking about this in more detail. Now let us recreate the same user object. I will say user.to. The difference I'm going to make, I'll convert this into an arrow function. What is it? I'm going to convert this test as an arrow function. Here it's a normal function and it's a function expression syntax. So now if I print user2 dot this, or if I try to log console dot log, I no need to do a console log, already console log is written. What if I say user dot test? So what is the output I'm going to get? Can you guess what is the output I'm going to get? Here when we called, it has already printed user. See this? It's a user object. Why? It always points to the object which is to the left side of this test method. So I'm invoking this method on a user object. That is the reason. What about here? The only difference is instead of normal function, I'm using arrow function. If I see the output now, you see the output now, I'm going to get again the same value as this outside this. Inside the function, we are getting same value as outside this. What is the meaning of this? The meaning is these arrow functions, they don't have uh, their own this value. So inside an arrow function, okay, their own this value will not be there. It is same as you know the context in which you are executing this function. So here whatever this value is there, same value is inside this test also. Why? Because arrow function, they don't have their own this value. It will not point to user2. Previously when I was explaining, I said inside this function, if at all I want to access this value, it will always points to user object. Why? Because normal functions have their own this value and it does not point to the outside this. So here if you try to print this value, which will be different from what you are going to print inside this test. And this is an important difference, yeah, when we come from a normal function to an arrow function. Yeah, and that is this headline. Arrow functions have no this variable. I mean their own this is not there. This if you access, it will be just same as outside. And this in I mean this particular variable is also called as, yeah, this particular variable is also called as, you know, context. In JavaScript we say it as it is a context. So context, it means it is like the environment in which you are running this particular function, you are called this particular function. Okay, so that is one of the important difference of having arrow function. So there is another important difference, yeah. I mean, I would say, yeah, it's again important difference compared to the normal function. So arrow functions don't have arguments, yeah, don't have arguments object. So what exactly meaning of this? So normal functions have one a built-in, yeah, a built-in object which is called an array like built-in object which is called arguments. Okay, so I think let's see that here itself. Now, yeah, let's try to print console.log arguments here. We just now understood about, yeah, this. So let's write in the same example. We will try to print the value of arguments. First of all, what exactly is arguments? Yeah, so you will see a different output. So this arguments basically will hold all the parameters that you are passing it to this test function. So you might be passing 10 parameters, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. So while invoking this function, but you might be receiving also in A, B, C, D. On top of that, this is equal to your, if you have learned C language, there is something called argv, argument vector. Yeah, exact equivalent of that in JavaScript, arguments. So these arguments will have, okay, whatever arguments you passed to this particular test. Let's say I pass in now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and try to run. See the output. See, what did I get? Part of the arguments I got, okay, yeah, I got an object actually. What did I get? I got an object. Okay, so this we say it's an array like object, but it's an object that we saw. Now this object is there in a normal function definitions. But now we are trying to understand, okay, so inside, you know, inside this, yeah, inside, okay, are we getting some value? So inside an arrow function, you see what is happening? We are not really getting these arguments. Did we pass? Okay, let's pass some arguments. Yeah, let's pass it. Do you see anywhere 9, 10, 11 being printed? Yeah. Does arrow
No, no,
functions
sir.
have? No, it doesn't print. Yeah. That is, that's what is the meaning. Okay. The the arrows have no arguments object. This is an object. This is one variable, special variable which is available normally in functions. Okay. Yes. So yeah, this is what is actually kind of arrow function revisited. They don't have this. They don't have arguments. Oh, another important thing I think I didn't talk about, can't be called with new. So in JavaScript we know this keyword called new. Basically we use this keyword to create an instance of a constructor. Yeah. So let's say I have an array, then we use array. These are all built-in constructor. We also have function. Yes, we can also use new function. For example, if I have created a function called test, yeah, I can even invoke like new test. This is possible. How did I miss it? Yeah, arrow functions have no this. Arrow functions have no arguments. But on the end, yes, so another thing you have to remember is, so let's say if the test is, let's write a normal test, and then we'll write an arrow function test. How do I write an arrow function test? Test2 is equals to this arrow function test. Now look at, if I use a new operator on each of this, see you are going to get an instance of this particular test. Let's say I do the same thing on test2, see it is not returning anything. And instead we are getting an error, test2 is not a constructor. Which means what? Arrow functions cannot be used as constructor also. Yeah. So three important difference. Mainly in interviews they'll ask you more. Yeah. And you should be knowing also that okay, there is a difference of having arrow functions compared to this normal functions. Okay. Any questions on this?